Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, race fans. Hello and welcome to Race Spot TV for round number 1 of the next season of the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series here on iRacing Live, Race Spot TV, and DirtVision.com. Hello, everybody. I'm Cameron Walsh with Randy Chenoweth and Hugo Louis. We're going to be bringing you coverage from Eldora Speedway. Yes, Rossburg, Ohio hosts round number 1 of this season's World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series. And boy, are we excited to be here. Well, Randy, we're here at Eldora. It's no surprise that we start here at the Big E. It's typically one of the biggest racetracks you can find in the entirety of the Dirt Series circuits around the world. And, well, we're happy to start here in our 410 wing sprint cars.
And of the tracks that we have on the iRacing service, certainly one of the most popular. Qualifying currently underway, actually it's getting ready to get itself finished up here in a couple minutes. One driver still yet to put down a qualifying time. That's the number 2, Tim Ryan. He's out there doing hot laps right now.
Yeah, and he's running around high to low, which is fairly standard, running right down to the concrete walls on the inside of the corners, and then right to the outside as the down what would be considered the back stretch, but it's really a bowl, one of the couple of bowls that we have here between Eldora and Volusia. This season, though, a couple of changes. We are going to be seeing the track surfaces, Randy, maybe a little bit more worn out than we're used to, and also the addition of a new racing track.
Yeah, indeed, new track coming to the service, which I haven't gotten a chance to turn any laps on yet, but it's always good to see the variety get spiced up. So now with five tracks on the service, can't really go wrong, can you?
No, not at all. Linear, of course, as they have put down some dirt on that. But you know what? Let's take a look, though, at the starting grid for the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series round number 1 here at Eldora. Steven Renaud and his number 7 is going to be starting first with a 13.379. Just behind, though, is previous season champion Austin Semmelman. His number 1 put a 13.388. Alexei Bergeron is going to be starting first in the second row. Keith Starnes outside him in the 4th position. Lewis Hewitt will be starting in 5th. Ricky J. Sanders will be starting in 6th position. Drew Neal will be starting in 7th. Tim Ryan in 8th position. Derek Walker will be starting in 9th. Christopher Bell will start from the 10th position. Kevin J. Holly way back in the 11th position. We'll see what he can do. Bob King in 12th. And Adam Elby rounding out your 13-car field here at Rossburg, Ohio. Of course, we got 2 pace laps, Randy, which means that we've got plenty of time to talk about just the strategies we're going into it. This is the 3rd season of the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series. People here should be fairly familiar as the cars are rolling.
Fireworks start going off. They're going to get themselves started. And you're right, couple pace laps here tonight. Austin Semmelman, defending series champion. One of the first times you've seen him not snag that pole position. He has a tendency to get himself out front early in qualifying and basically lead all the laps from there. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to do starting from that 2nd spot. A couple other interesting names, as you said. Christopher Bell is an example, someone who we saw in the early goings here a couple of seasons ago be really, really strong in these cars. Tonight qualifies in the 10th position. So it's going to be interesting to see if that 6th machine is better under race trim than he is under qual.
Yeah, we'll have to see here, and of course we're going to be watching it all on iRacing Live, Race Spot TV, and DirtVision.com. So yes, the pace truck is out there. It's going to make one more circuit around, and we will get underway under the right foot of Steven Renaud. And we got to remember, of course, Eldora known for its high side when it gets worn off. This track fairly worn as it stands, so perhaps they will go up there fairly quick. We'll see here as the pace truck looking to pull off, and there it goes, and it will go under the hand of Steven Renaud, and he will let it loose. 410 wing sprint car action here at Eldora. He'll take it to the inside line, the outside line almost exclusively going high.
And Austin Semmelman gets a big run of momentum onto the back straightaway and has a lead as they're going to be 3 wide through 3 and 4 for your lead spot. Contact down on the bottom, and then we got a car around already. That's the number 3 machine of Alex Bergeron. Aggressive move, not quite working out. We stay green.
Yeah, that was with Ricky J. Sanders. They ended up getting themselves looped back around, though, and they're finding themselves now in the last 3 positions. One car finding himself in the back wall. That's Adam Elby. But for the rest of the field, though, Austin Semmelman, well, he's going to take the lead. He's going to keep it as they're trying to go single file. Looks like Tim Ryan, to me, is coming up. He actually makes contact with somebody as they're coming off of corner number 3.
Bit of side-by-side contact as we got another car in the wall. I'm not sure who that is. That's actually Drew Neal. Went into corners number 1 and 2 way hot, and he faced the wrong way. That's going to be caution out here. Not sure what happened here to the 12, but as he went into corner number 1, he just shot straight up the racetrack into the outside wall.
I think this started a little earlier. This was with that contact.
He's in the slick stuff.
Yeah, well, not only that, but there was the contact between Tim Ryan and Steven Renaud. Steven Renaud had to get way out of it. He ended up going into the wall, and by the time they got to the next corner, Drew Neal was indeed in that slick stuff, and he certainly found himself getting rattled around, losing most of the front of that car, and actually that number 12 car is going to be retired, which means that we've got our first caution for the next season of the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series. We had a pretty hectic 5 laps here, Randy.
Yeah, pretty hectic indeed. These guys really getting aggressive. We saw that 3 wide on the opening lap with Bergeron and Semmelman, and I forgot who the excuse me, I think it was I just pulled a big blank here. Sorry
it was
about
Sanders.
that.
It's all right. Yeah, it was Ricky J. Sanders and Alex A. Bergeron. They were going 3 wide, and
no, it was Renaud. It wasn't Sanders. It was Renaud for your race lead.
I think, well, maybe that's what started. But I know when they spun, I know Bergeron spun with Sanders. That's why they're both back.
No, that
there,
was with Renaud. He spun with Steve Renaud. Renaud was in the middle. Selman worked the cushion, and then Bergeron threw it up the middle. Threw it on the bottom. Renaud really squeezed that 3 machine coming off of corner number 4, and then he made contact with the 5 of Sanders. But it started with Renaud, who was in the middle.
Ah, gotcha. All right. Well, we're looking to get back underway. Machines right now are setting themselves back up. Selman way on the low side, which is his decision. The rest of the field doesn't really seem to be following down there, which not quite sure why they wouldn't. But off and away, Austin Selman goes. He gets a massive jump. He's about 20,000 leagues away as he takes it to the high side right off the bat as we go green once again at Eldora.
You see, we saw a lot of cars down along the bottom in qualifying. Here in race trim, it's a freight train up along the top right now, and Austin Selman, yes, we caught these guys sleeping on this restart. Cam Zolman got a fantastic start when he started on the outside of that front row coming to green the initial time. This time on the restart, and no one else even close to challenging the 1 as he comes around to start lap number 10.
No, and Tim Ryan, he started in the 8th position. He's finding himself in 2nd. Christopher Bell, he's gone from 10th to 4th. So a lot of big movers here after that that jockeying for position early on. Everyone, though, getting into a fairly good single file. I think they're realizing, though, that inside line isn't necessarily working. There is one car who is trying very desperately to make that inside work, and I am just not sure who that is. It's Lewis Hewitt, the number 4 machine, is we did have a car pull off. I believe it was Derek Walker in the number 13.
He's down on pit lanes. That's pretty much going to be day done for him. And that number 13 machine is Selman. Works himself through 3 and 4. Closest fight on the racetrack is actually Christopher Bell. He hopped the cushion through 3 and 4. Now he has Steven Renaud for company as they work themselves through 1 and 2. You see 5 cars in a train on the top side. Renaud tries to turn it down to the bottom. Doesn't get the momentum, though, having to drive through the slick stuff. All the cars up along the rim here. And I have to say for Christopher Bell, don't want to be hopping that cushion. He's made that mistake in real life, making it in the sim as well.
Yeah, and it is very easy to do here at Eldora, and I am sure in real life and as well here in the sim, as we are halfway through this 30-lap feature event at Eldora under the lights. But right now it seems like Tim Ryan, he's trying his best to keep up with Austin Selman, but the best that he can do is to just keep the lap times equal, and he's doing a good job of that. But unfortunately, that means that he's not catching in. But that also means, however, Randy, Keith Starnes, however, is not closing in. Closest battle I see is between Alex Bergeron and Kevin J. Holly for 6th.
These two almost side by side up off corner number 4 as we're just over halfway. Big slider by the 3 of Bergeron down to the bottom, and Hawley's going to turn it back down to the bottom, but he doesn't get far enough down to the inside. But into 3 and 4, he throws a big slider. This time Bergeron says, Hawley, this is how you turn back down to the bottom defended position. Well done by the 3 machine to both pick up a spot and defend it off of 4.
Alex Bergeron, of course, very recently was finding himself at the wheel of a 305 sprint car, and up in Canada, I believe it was, but he is doing very well. We have a caution out on the track, not quite sure who it's for.
Not sure either, looking for it here.
The 11 machine, according to Hugo Louis. Yeah, Adam Elby. We'll see what he did.
As well.
Yeah, he's finding himself in the... I see what had happened. He went into one. He was running solo and ended up having an issue where he ran into the wall, and I think he completely dislocated the rear axle of that 410 wing sprint car because he was going nowhere after that incident.
Yeah, that was a pretty good hit. That's one of the things you have to worry about. I mentioned Christopher Bell. We saw him. He kind of got away with it, jumped the cushion, and he gave the wall a tap, but he didn't seem to break anything. The 11 machine, very similar mistake. Got a little bit more significant damage, so he pulled it off there. So Adam Elby, that's going to be race done, as we're going to be getting a restart here in just a couple laps time. I believe it would be about 7 or 8 laps to go. So a bit of a quick shootout here to end it for the season opener.
Yeah, should be maybe 5 to go, maybe 6 to go, as we are stuck behind that iRacing safety truck once again for retirement so far. Drew Neal, Derek Walker, Bob King, and Adam Elby. So obviously not the day that they wanted to have, but for the rest of the field, though, and we've seen a lot of jockeying for position, and I have to say, for Steven Renaud, not the day he wanted. He was qualified in first, so either way, though, we're looking, actually, yeah, we're going to look at, it'll be 7 to go at the line, I believe, but either way, Austin Selmelman, will he catch them sleeping again, Randy?
I don't know. I mean, I think if you're Tim Ryan, I don't think you're going to let yourself make that same mistake twice. But at the same time, Selmy had such a huge lead, it's hard to really say.
Well, they're going to be stacking themselves up. Tim Ryan, though, I'm sure he's not going to want to find himself in trouble again, as Keith Starnes is coming up behind him. But no, actually, Austin Selmelman gets the jump once again. Everyone should have seen that coming. Steve Renaud, a horrible start on that inside line. He finds himself cycled well to the back of the pack.
What he would have wanted is Tim Ryan's going to go to the bottom in 3 and 4 in a big run of momentum, not able to slide up in front of Selmelman. He does a good job keeping it off the 1 machine. Now he has to defend the spot with the 6 of Bell. They're going to be 3 wide through 1 and 2. Bell and Selmelman make contact. Ryan goes around, Selmelman comes around. That's going to bring the yellow out.
Not the day that we're going to want to see having this race come to an end. Austin Selmelman finding himself in an incident I don't really think of any result of his own. He was trying to stay on that high side, and he didn't back down. He didn't back down going through the first corner when Tim Ryan came way up to the high side and bled off speed, and then he tried it again, and you actually had the number 6 car get involved in that as well of Christopher Bell. He wanted a piece of that action, and he just did not work out.
I think that's one of those situations I have to put that on Christopher Bell. Tim Ryan, he committed to the slider, and he had that slider done. He was up against the wall. He cleared Austin Selmelman. Selmelman would have been able to cut down to the bottom. I think Bell, that's a position that he should always lift out there. He essentially just rolled right up the racetrack into your 1 machine who was leading at the time. So I have to say, I think that's all on Christopher Bell for bringing out the late race restart.
Now to also say that, though, he was right in the middle of the track. I don't think he would have had any grip, whether he put a throttle down or brake or no matter what. Once he committed to that middle line, I don't think there's anything in there. This track very, very abused, but either way, Austin Selmelman had already got on the binders because he had saw the number 2 car coming, and it just didn't come to play. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to have a green flag yet again. Oh, we are. We're going to have like a 2-lap shootout here, so we'll see if Christopher Bell can hold it off of Alexei Bergeron. Christopher Bell starting in 10th position, Randy. We'll see what they can do now.
Indeed, going to be an exciting handful of laps. 3 laps is what it's going to be at the line here once they come off corner number 4. And Christopher Bell from 10th to 1st tonight on the grid.
Yeah, and it marks Austin Selmelman as 1 lap down, so he'll be sitting back in the pack, of course, wishing what could have been. But for Christopher Bell, the number 6 car, he is going to take the green. He'll get the jump. He's only got a couple of laps to defend against Alexei Bergeron, and Alexei Bergeron finds himself getting in trouble. An incident all the way from the start here, as we are going to be finishing, Randy, under caution here at Eldora.
Indeed it is, and really it's just, I think, the 3 machine of Bergeron. I think he pushed up a little bit and he started driving down the racetrack. I think he got a little bit more caution on that, a little bit more traction on that right rear tire than he would have liked. And then he started driving down the racetrack into the slick stuff. And when that happened, he lost a lot of momentum. And Ricky J. Sanders, really when someone starts doing that in front of you, there's not a whole lot you can do. He just split the 3 machine on that left rear tire, and that sent him down into the 3 cars, the 10, the 2, and the 7. That's as well as Steve Renaud. And then when that happened, well, you're inevitably just going to bring out a caution and pretty much a big pileup there to end it.
Yeah, 5 cars involved. Actually, I don't think Stephen Renaud was actually involved in that one, but yeah. So that'll be like a 4-car incident there. Ricky J. Sanders, I think he got off the throttle, but really, yeah, you get on the brake there or anything like that, your rears are going to go into that hole, and you're going to lose the rear axle, and then you're just going to spin out and cause an incident anyways. So for Christopher Bell, well, it's an unlikely story, but that number 6 car went from 10th to 1st, and a little bit of controversy between a little bit of racemanship for position number 1. But you know what? Christopher Bell is going to be taking the victory. Steven Renaud will come home in 2nd. Alexei Bergeron will be coming home in 3rd. Randy, we saw a lot of great green flag action. We just it didn't pay off in the end, unfortunately. The race ended under caution.
Yeah, that one was super exciting at the start. A lot of great side-by-side racing and people throwing aggressive moves and able to do it cleanly and make those moves stick. Then we got to the second half of the race. People started to get a little bit more impatient, and we saw a lot of those moves get thrown that people either ran out of talent and ran into people, or they just basically were never going to work in the first place.
Yeah, and so Eldora, though, bites a couple of other drivers. But either way, let's take a look at the results for round number 1 of the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series, here live from Rossburg, Ohio. Finishing in at the first position, it's going to be Christopher Bell, that number 6 car. After 10 minutes and 50 seconds, 3 cautions, he'll come home with the victory. Steven Renaud will be finishing behind in 2nd. Alex A. Bergeron will come home in 3rd. Keith Starnes in 4th. Kevin J. Holly from 11th to 5th. Kevin J. Sanders, well, he started in 6th. Unfortunately, he'll finish in 6th for him because he was right on up there before that incident. Lewis Hewitt, he'll finish in the 7th position. Tim Ryan, oh, what could have been, he came home in 8th position. And Austin Semmelman, most certainly the car that had the speed, unfortunately just not there today with that incident. Adam Elby, he'll be a retirement. Bob King retired in 11th. Derek Walker retired from 12th, and Drew Neal will retired in the 13th position. So either way, Randy, we've got Christopher Bell in the booth to interview, so let's see if we can talk to him. But first, just give me what your thoughts are here from our Eldora.
Overall, I think it was a decent race. Good. First race of the season. I think a lot of people coming in, new build, a little bit of changes to the track surface, a little bit of changes to the cars as well. People trying to get everything underneath them. First race of the season, though, people trying to shake that rust off. I think hopefully that explains the cautions. Overall, I want to see a much cleaner season than we saw last season, and this wasn't a great start to that.
No, we did have a couple of good greens. Maybe they're busy running that UMP sprint or modified, and they've forgotten how to run these things. But either way, we've got our race winner, Christopher Bell, in the booth. Mr. Bell, well, it was a bit of a heckling race out there at Eldora. A lot of people were throwing a lot of moves out there, and that middle strip of racetrack was very, very slick. You could either run the inside or the outside. It made it very, very tricky. Take me through your day here at Eldora. Chris, if you gotta unmute the microphone, that would probably... Oh, I'll say. Okay, I see. All right, well, either way, Christopher doesn't actually have the microphone set up, so that's unfortunate. But either way, we do have, I believe, Alex Bergeron, if I'm reading that correctly down there. Let's see if we can get... oh, okay. Well, either way, let's see if we can get Bergeron in here, and we'll see what Alex Bergeron is going to have to say. Alex, how did your day work at Eldora here?
Well, it was pretty tough. Qualifying was not that bad. We had a good run. Also for my teammate getting the pole, Austin Simmelman get the pole tonight was a good run for him. Saturday race went like that. Well, racing incidents, I guess, just rough night at all. And well, we were back down to last position, I think, and we made it back to 4th when the first couple of guys tangled up on the front, and made my way to 2nd place until another racing incident happened. So not much I could do, but we finished with the 3rd place finish tonight and a podium for VLR. So pretty proud for that.
Yeah, Eldora can be a pretty tricky place. We've had races where they've gone almost all green, and then we've had races like this where they just seem to be tripped up with cautions. It's a real tricky track to race. That middle line, though, was extremely slicked off, which I think we're going to be expecting in this season. The tracks seem to get slicker and slicker as the seasons go on. And just how do you confront a racetrack when you're running it this slick?
Well, it's pretty tough running on slick, but I like it because there's more racing you can do. Like, you can do slide jobs and more racing because you need to be patient on throttle, and it's all about pretty much the driver, and you need to work on it. So I'm looking forward for this season. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah, either way, next week we're going to be heading to USA Speedway, of course. I think that's probably the highest speed that we can possibly get, so hopefully we'll get to see you there. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to or thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I would like to thank Team VLR and my teammates Austin and Kate tonight. Was a good run, but even though, you know, we're gonna get stronger next week and we'll do a better result. And also would like to thank all my sponsors, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for broadcasting every Monday nights for this season, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week indeed. Alex A. Bergeron joining us in the broadcast booth here from Eldora Speedway. Randy, USA Speedway, that's coming up next on the agenda. High speeds, high banks, really, whenever we seem to have gone there, it's always been a clean race, and hopefully that'll set us up for a good round two.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a good run. USA, generally the quickest layout, which you might not think, but just the way the corners are profiled and linked to the straightaway is very, very fast racetrack at USA International Speedway. And I always loved the racing there, 25 laps of action. And then those who want to see the new track, you'll see that in 2 weeks' time. September the 26th, we'll be at Lanier for 30 laps. That'll be the first time we see that new layout for these winged 410 sprint cars. So definitely good to see new track coming in after 2 seasons.
Yeah, just last night I did a couple of duels there in the Legends car. I can tell you it is definitely going to be difficult if that track is slicked off. But either way, we'll get to see that in 2 weeks' time, as we said, on September 26th. But either way, you can catch all of your World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series action here on iRacing Live, RaceSpot TV, and DirtVision.com. Hugo, I think it's about that time we get this thing set up and wrapped up. It's been myself, Cam Walsh. It's been Randy Chenoweth. It's been Hugo Louis. And this has been the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series on iRacing Live and RaceSpot TV, as well as DirtVision.com. Thank you very much for making us part of your day, and we wish you have a good one indeed. We will see you all 1 week's time. USA, have a good one.